Hi everybody, and welcome to Rapid Injury Recovery. And for this week we're going to be talking about how to diffuse anger. There are certain steps that you can take to diffuse anger. Please let your friends know that we're on. If they like my page, then they can also get notified when these broadcasts start happening. So just let your friends know that this is happening. Share with them that this is happening, and then we'll get started. Today we're going to be talking about how to diffuse anger, because anger is an extremely powerful emotion. I think you all know this. I think almost everyone has experienced anger at one time or more in their lives, and for some people anger is something that okay, keep going. Okay. I guess Facebook is sending me messages. So basically, anger is something that everybody has experienced, and it's very powerful emotion. The thing about anger is that it does a heck of a lot of damage. Okay, so we know that the brain is an emotional organ, okay? And emotional always means that we will feel all those emotions. Now, emotions will affect the brain as well as the rest of the body. In Chinese medicine, as I've told you before, every single one of our major organs also is affected by our emotional state. So we want to be able to take control of that emotional state, because that is so important, okay? So I made some notes here, and definitely we have to understand that anger has possibilities that are both negative and positive. Modern science has discovered that anger can affect the heart. Okay, that's only one example. So that's what they do know. Okay, so they are just beginning to understand what Chinese medical doctors have understood for thousands of years already. Okay, so, and that of course was done by observation. And really, even under the modern scientific method, what are we really doing? We're observing certain behaviors. We're observing phenomena. And then we see whether these things repeat themselves over and over again. And in Chinese medicine, it was hands down, yes, there are certain effects on a person when they are constantly angry, okay? Okay, now what I really want to emphasize is that our emotional state is not to be avoided. We can't afford to repress and suppress either, because that only builds up the stress that is going to affect our body, okay? So we can't repress or suppress either. We can't ignore it. Instead, we're going to be doing a few things today that we need to do in order to diffuse the anger that we feel. You know, whenever we have a strong emotion such as anger and worry and anxiety, like what I talked about in a few weeks past, is that we always have this feeling of helplessness. And, you know, it's always something that's unexpected. We feel that we've lost control. And so one of the things that I really want to talk to you about is, well, those two sister concepts that are so important: control and responsibility. So what do you really have control over? And what are you really responsible for? We really only have control over our own thoughts, feelings, decisions we make, the actions we take, and the results that we get. And it's the same thing for responsibility. I can't overemphasize this, because the thing is, as I said just a few minutes ago, is that we are angry because we feel that we've lost control over something. We are worried and anxious because we're afraid of something that might happen, and therefore we don't have control over that situation. So that is always the root problem that we have to deal with. And so that's why knowing what we can control and what we're really responsible for can really help. So are you, at the situation that you look at, somebody has done something to you. Are you in control of what they do? Say? No, you're not, right? Everybody has their own mind. Everybody has their own motives. Everybody has their own agenda. We don't have control over it. And the same thing for responsibility. Are we really responsible for those actions that people take, the things that they say? Again, we're not. We have no control over other people, situations, events that happen outside of us. So you might as well not even try. So that is a major decision that you have to make, that there is nothing that you can do outside of yourself. What you can do is control your mind, okay? So your brain is a very emotional organ. So it's going to be affected by any bad stuff that you're thinking about that creates stress, okay? We've all been surprised, and we're never going to be perfect at this, okay? But we can make a decision to become aware of how we feel and try to calm down as soon as possible. So the other thing that you can do is to just let that red-hot anger, just let it run through its course in a quiet, non-destructive way, okay? So no throwing things around, no breaking glasses or, dinnerware, lamps. Don't do anything that hurts you or someone else or something else, because you just might regret it later on, okay? So regret is another thing. We don't need to pile on the regret too. So make yourself sit quietly and just let it pass and ask for help, okay? Recently, if you've been reading my story on this Facebook page, Rapid Injury Recovery, lately I've been telling you about what happened to me in the past week when I was on vacation, okay? So we stopped to let this thresher go, and we were on our way to Waterton Lakes National Park, and it was a destination that my brother really wanted to visit, and so I really wanted him to be there too. So this trip was very important to all of us. And the thing is, my car broke down about 43 kilometers outside the gates of the national park. And, and I could feel the emotion just welling up inside me as I began to panic and maybe started to get angry. Why did I turn off my car? Blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't have found out that there was a problem, but maybe I should have found out that there was a problem at that point, okay? The thing is that I really made myself sit down quietly, close my eyes, and ask for help. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then I calm right down, and then things started to change. Things started to change, and good things started to come to us. And we didn't just sit there doing nothing. I was on the phone with AMA and asking for help and getting their advice. And I'll tell you the rest of the story today, actually, when I write in my blog. But the thing is that we too often get angry at a situation that happened in seconds, and then we hold on to it forever. Okay? We hold on to it much longer than how long something happened. So let's stop hanging on to those things and being angry about the things that we have no control over, because it's only hurting ourselves. And remember how stress hurts the brain. If you're chronically angry, like I've known many, many people to be, eventually it doesn't just affect their brain, it affects their entire body. And like I said last time, it takes away your energy. You can't have the energy that you need in order to live because you're using it all up. And then you get old before your time. You get cynical when there should be optimism and love of life. You don't want that, okay? So please do it, okay? Please diffuse that anger by sitting with it. And, you know, someone like Darren Hardy, who, the former publisher of Success Magazine, he said that he really practiced this because he had a lot of anger too in himself, and he knew that if he didn't get it under control, that it was going to be a bad thing. So he practiced. And because of what he said, I do too, to diffuse that anger and let it go in as short a time as possible. And he was getting better and better and better at it. And so am I. And so can you, okay? Now, worry and anxiety can also turn into anger because of that helpless feeling that you get, okay? So if you're worried and anxious about certain things in your life, go back, you know, a couple weeks ago, yeah, and go back and listen to that to find out how you can diffuse your worry and anxiety. Because the thing is that we can't keep doing the same things that we're doing. We have to do things differently in order to make sure that both our brains and our bodies are in as best shape as possible. Because whenever we're in an emotional state that is really unhappy, angry, worried, anxious, you know, whatever you want, we're actually literally beside ourselves. We are actually in insanity. We are in insanity when we are in these states on a perpetual basis. And remember, your emotional state is not a bad thing. I know that there are entire families who train their children to repress and suppress the anger that they feel, and that's not healthy, okay? All it does is create more problems, prolongs the ones that are already there, and we don't need that. We need to teach ourselves and our children that it's okay to feel the way we feel. It's okay to feel the way we feel. The thing is that we can't keep holding on to it because we're only doing damage to ourselves, and also we don't allow our potential to come out, because our potential will never come out until we feel good about ourselves and about our lives right now, because we have really a lot to be thankful for. Okay? So you got it? I hope so, because I want to create a much better world, and we can start by doing this right now. Okay? We want to grow up too, and we want our kids to grow up feeling good and confident and having all that potential laid out before us, and to take advantage of it. Okay? Remember what you have control over, what you're responsible for. Ask yourself, do I have control over this? Am I truly responsible for that? If you're not, then let it go. And then sit and let the emotion just run its course. And if you really do have control, responsibility over something, then do something about it, okay? Do something now, positive and constructive. Remember that. Also a very important key. So, until next week, please practice letting go of your anger and looking at the brighter side of life, okay? I'll be writing the rest of my story today about our trip to Waterton and telling you how we handled it, okay? Because that is so important. It's a real life example of resilience. And okay, if you know anybody who is suffering from a concussion or post-concussion syndrome, remember my book, Heal Your Concussions, How to Quickly and Effectively Get Back in the Game. And I also have a really cool quiz for people who haven't been feeling very well for quite some time. It's called The 9 Signs of a Hidden Brain Injury. Okay? So talk to you next week. Bye.